What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Google Ground Podcast. If you are new, welcome. If you are not new, if you're a returning guest, welcome back. This is where we ground ourselves in the truth of God's word as we navigate the lies of culture. I'm your host, Kevin. Some of you who already follow me, whether it be on Twitter, X, or Instagram, know me as KingCat 2.0. Now let's just get into this, right? In this video, I need to break down the escalating situation that we have here with Josh and with everyone else that is covering this story with Daystar. The alleged harassments, the threats, the doxing, something I personally have had to deal with the account that we're about to get into, is tied to individuals connected to who we all believe to be Daystar and Racheal, who's the daughter of the founders, Marcus and Racheal Lamb. Now, Josh here, I covered him in my previous episode, has been known for covering high-profile scandals in the church. IHOP, Mike Bickle, Robert Morris. The first video that really blew up was his video on Joni and Doug and the alleged marriage, adultery, divorce. He recently became the target of online harassment, myself included, and many others who I'll name and go through, after publicly exposing the misconduct. So here's what's happening, just to catch you up to speed. A parody account was created mocking Josh and his ministry, using his name, branding him, publicly insulting him, threatening him, humiliating him, trying to humiliate, right? Other pages, such as DOCA, the Department of Church Accountability, which I'll get to, on X, have been actively doxing, stalking, harassing not only Josh, but myself, dozens others, other whistleblowers and survivors who have spoken out against the abuse that's been going on in the church, mainly Daystar. Now, these accounts are allegedly affiliated with or run by Racheal. According to a Grok AI analysis that Josh goes through in this video, links the stylistic patterns, the grammar, sentence structures, contextual ties across both profiles, Racheal and DOCA, and the account that we're about to get into, that there's a very high chance that it's the same person. Now, the threats have included statements like, "We're going to drop your file," meant to practically silence critics and intimidate anyone who speaks out. Once again, myself included. So instead of addressing the actual allegations made against Daystar, its leadership, these accounts have resorted to straight ad hominems, name calling, straw manning, bullying, revenge tactics. It is reaching a disturbing and alarming level. So much so that well-known YouTuber slash Bible teacher Mike Winger steps in to support Josh. Shout out to Mike Winger. Now, after sharing Josh's video with, his 59,000 followers on Twitter X, Mike warned that if the bullying continues, he may speak out directly against Daystar in a video of his own, which I see happening in the near future, because when you're dealing with narcissists, they don't stop because they have to make a point. Their own narcissism and pride works against them. So I'm going to play a little bit of what Josh has to say. I'll stop at some key points, give my own commentary, explain my part in this as well, because I had called out how there's a strong possibility that the DOCA account, the IP, how IP addresses work, etc., might actually be linked to Daystar, allegedly, and Racheal. And that's when that account had switched their attention from Josh to me. And I'll cover that in a little bit. I'll probably throw some screenshots up to clarify. But let's just get into Josh.
Back on what I saw and knew that I had to speak out. It's not IHOP KC because there is nothing left to that organization at this point. And the same thing with Morning Star Ministries. They have been reduced to almost nothing. Gateway Church ended up releasing their pastor. So this would really leave one prime suspect in Daystar Television. And they are the only ministry that I'm still covering ongoing, open at this point. So something every believer needs to know is that evil will never go down without a fight. And we must come to realize that we are co-laborers with God in expelling darkness. This stuff just doesn't happen automatically. Many people will say, we'll just pray and God will take care of everything. Well, God left us in charge of the church. He left Peter in charge of the church. And he left disciples and leaders involved to get involved and do things. So here we are. Many people believe that most likely Daystar's own darling, Racheal Lamb, is behind these social media accounts that are threatening and harassing. Not only me, but dozens of other whistleblowers, people that are speaking out. And we're going to review their below-the-belt tactics in this video, and I will also give some proof that Racheal Lamb could be behind these accounts. But I must add a major disclaimer here. I am not a lawyer, law enforcement, or tech professional. So I must say very clearly there is strong proof that Daystar is behind these accounts that are harassing and threatening people online. But these are just allegations that Daystar is possibly behind these social media accounts. This has not been proven by law enforcement or in a court of law. So it's very important to realize these are still allegations at this point. But I believe God is going to bring this situation into the light very soon. And we will know for a fact who is running these accounts and doing the stalking, threatening, harassing, slander, intimidation, and witchcraft. They are going to get shut down from social media companies most likely, but I prefer we find out who is doing this first. If you have a background in tech issues like this, and this is your professional area of expertise, and you can help finding out who is behind these social media accounts, then feel free to reach out to me and help me in this process. Okay, you can find my email address in the video description section.
I'm going to skip.
Combined. And if you do not follow Mike Winger, I suggest you do so right now. I promise you his teaching ministry, Mike.
So this is where Josh mentions how Mike Winger now gets involved.
Winger gets involved and throws his hat in the ring. I followed a couple of his Bible studies, some of the best Bible studies that I have ever done, and I went to seminary myself. I did one Bible study with him, Women in Ministry, that was like 60 hours long, and then did another 40 hours of research myself. So Mike Winger has over 1 million followers on social media combined. And if you do not follow Mike Winger, I suggest you do so right now. I promise you his teaching ministry will bless you tremendously. And on top of that, he's a great person who has a real heart for ministry. And these are the type of leaders that we want to promote. So Mike Winger shared my last video about my initial report of being threatened and harassed. And the video went viral on Twitter, getting 58,000 views. And that's just on Twitter. So on other platforms, all combined, it's probably over 150,000 views. And then he posted this on Twitter because of the bullying, followed it up and made another point. Let's take a look at that. Okay, so this mock account that's using my ministry name published Mike's post, and they shot back at him. But Mike Winger said this. He posted this. I can't show all of the details now, but I believe Daystar and Racheal Lamb are orchestrating a group of fake accounts on social media to harass people who are exposing the abuse in their organization.
Logically, who else could it be? Logically, who else could it be? Like Josh was saying, IHOP's out for the count. Mike Bickle's out for the count. It's not going to be anyone from Gateway Church. Robert Morris is technically out for the count. The only ones who are threatened by the truth right now, currently, is Daystar Television Network. And the family, Joni and Racheal. Highly doubt it's Rebecca. But Racheal? So I agree with Mike Winger here. It has to be someone from Daystar Network that is orchestrating these mock accounts. Either someone who's being paid by them, and once again, these are allegations because we don't know for certain. But we can logically assess who else would care about making a mock account to defend Daystar, Joni, and Racheal and her husband, other than Joni, Daystar, Racheal, and her husband. Who else would care?
Because of this, I am sharing this video to push back against the despicable efforts in hope for justice. If they continue to harass people, I will continue to share about Daystar's tactics and issues. I've been encountering evidence of coordinated, malicious attacks on whistleblowers from rich Christian leaders, and I intend to push back against them. This is in honor of the fake accounts made on X to harass Joshua Simone. I told you I would do more if you kept harassing people. This is for you. So Mike Winger has got in and used his...
Yeah, I think Mike Winger has officially come into the fight. And at this point, and I respect Mike for doing that, because a lot of Christian content creators are not doing that because they don't want the smoke, essentially speaking. Because for them, it's, I don't want to talk about Daystar because this might affect my monetization. This might affect my money. This might affect my pocketbook. I don't want to talk about this because I don't quite know what's going on. I'll just want to mind my business and preach the gospel, which is really just cowardice, in my humble opinion. Because you can't ignore what's going on with Daystar unless you're really afraid about getting pushback like this. Uber respect for Mike Winger because he's not scared. But let me continue on and keep
power and influence to push behind that. And if they keep it up, Mike is going to do more content on this subject, and this could end up getting millions of views, okay?
Which will be bad for Daystar, Joni, and the likes. But I want to move forward and cover just a little bit, bring up where I come into this.
My friend Joshua Simone, okay? Then they said, you know, basically they're talking to Mike here, whining about a parody count. None of us is asking anyone in the non-Daystar to go on ministry accounts and bullying them. He thinks too highly of himself, okay? But that's not true. We'll show more of that. There's clear proof here in what they're doing. So you'll see here they basically fired back at Mike Winger. You're barking up the wrong tree, Mike Winger. You're hilarious. And now I am famous. Sorry if you thought you...
I'm telling you this, whoever's behind this account, by definition of that phrase, now I'm famous, is a narcissist. Someone who wants attention. Someone who's very insecure. Someone who wants the limelight. Someone who wants the spotlight, everything to be on them. Wonder who that could be.
You're upset with me with your ridiculous claims that you've just given me a reason to laugh at how ridiculous you are. I'm not stopping anything, nor can I. So 2 more posts here. Mark and avoid Mike Winger. He is a proven liar, a false accuser, hostile, quick to be angry, and has slandered me. His motives, anger, that I would dare to parry another hot-headed as Mike has shown himself to be. He threatened you're mocking Mike Winger. I'm a sanctimonious blowhard like my friend Joshua Simone. Okay? Then they said, you know, basically they're talking to Mike here, whining about a parody count. None of us is asking anyone in the non-Daystar to go on ministry accounts and bullying them. He thinks too highly of himself. Okay? But that's not true. We'll show more of that. There's clear...
Now, here is where I come in, because this parody account starts to interact with me because of a statement I made about the link with Doka, Racheal, and this account. Because I personally, allegedly, I believe this account is Racheal. And when Josh goes through at the end of his video to compare AI with both of these accounts, it comes up with a very high percentage that Racheal's account and this account, and I think the Doka account and this account, are one and the same. Of course, we're all alleging, but we wholeheartedly do believe that is her. Now, I want to go to my account on X, and then I want to end this. I don't want this to be too long. I want to go to Josh's account. I made a quick breakdown for those who are confused about the Doka account and its potential link to Daystar / Racheal. And I said very clearly, when I say the Doka account goes back to Daystar, I'm not saying the building. I'm talking about the people behind the screen. So I kind of describe the issue with IP addresses and digital fingerprints. So I said a digital fingerprint that shows what device is being used to access an account. Every device, laptop, phone, etc. has an IP address. I said if two accounts or actions share the same IP address, it means they're likely being run from the same device or network. That's not speculation, it's just how digital tracking works. If someone is asked because someone had asked, oh, well, if the IP says San Francisco, how can it be linked to Daystar? How can it be linked to anyone from Daystar, etc.? I said easy. That IP could be purchased or routed through a service that bounces locations. The actual user can just be anywhere. So what we're seeing is not just a rogue troll account, is very likely tied to someone with inside access or direction from Daystar being told what to post and when. And I'm like, this is not a conspiracy. It's just digital forensics. The receipts are digital. The tactics are real. The gaslighting should be expected. So I said, bottom line, the Doka account may not have the Daystar logo, but the fingerprints are there. And the truth will always find its way out. Essentially, the Daystar Mafia and or Racheal, they are slipping, which is to be expected. Because there's so many people talking about this, they have to try and do damage control. What is the best way to do damage control? Try to manipulate people and shut them up. Let's scare them a little bit. Let's peruse the internet to find information on them. Now I'm going to wrap this up, share Josh's perspective around the 20-minute mark, and then...
These are all lies, slander, and name-calling. So I just wanted to point people, who's the accuser of the brethren now? Who's playing the voice of Satan? Because the sole purpose of this count is not to refute the claims that the whistleblowers like me and my friends are bringing up, which would be the sane thing to do. Let's stick to the topic. We said that a 5-year-old was possibly SA'd, that Susie Lamb was possibly SA'd by a chiropractor in the ministry. Let's talk about that. Mm-hmm. Let's stick to the topic. But instead, they got to change the topic. So basically, that's what's going on here. Let's name call and dirty fight and do these other things. So why are we even here? What is the topic? Why was a third-party investigation not done at Daystar in the regards to the essay of two different people at the ministry, which include Joni's granddaughter, who was 5 years old at the time, and the people who initially were involved are saying that the investigation process was not completed and that the girl is showing signs of trauma, and that one person in the family named Pete, who we all know who is at this point, did not complete the process to clear his name completely. He didn't finish the process. So I posted a video about a month ago of Lance Wolnow, a respected person in the charismatic community, saying that Pete should do more to clear his name. So that's what all of this is about. We just want to see the process finished. I don't claim to know what happened here. I don't want to say who's guilty or who's not guilty, but I can tell you one thing. There's a lot here that needs to be reconciled. And
I'll pause it here. Josh is right. The only reason any of us exist, dude, like, I did not want most of my content to be about this. But the more we see unraveled, the more we see being brought to the light, the more we see being exposed, the more we realize, the more I realize that we have to talk about this. We would all shut up tomorrow if Daystar would do a third-party investigation. We would all stop talking about this tomorrow if Pete would do more to clear his name. But he didn't. Rachel's husband didn't. Which is who Pete is, by the way. I'm not going to protect this man's name. Do your part. Finish the investigation and we'd all shut up. Do a third-party investigation and we'd all shut up. But because you refuse, we exist. So why is this a big deal? This is spiritual abuse rebranded as social media warfare. That's what this is. Whistleblowers, survivors are being digitally stalked, harassed, silenced. I was doxxed. Listen, Josh goes on to say, this stuff doesn't scare me. This stuff doesn't scare me. Parody accounts being doxxed. I'm from Queens, New York. I grew up around gangbangers. Some of my best friends were Bloods and Crips. I'm not afraid of anything. So when I get parody accounts trying to dox me or trying to talk about me or trying to throw my name under the mud, just like Josh and many others, it doesn't scare us. What it does tell us is that we are onto you. We're not afraid to bring up names or churches or ministries or networks. Because if there's any truth and validity to what we're saying about y'all, and we know there is a lot of truth and validity to what we're saying, you're protecting lies. You're protecting liars, and that's an abomination to the Lord. And I'll get to that. But if faith-based ministries are turning to anonymous harassment accounts to protect their image, we all need to ask a question. What are they so desperate to hide? If you have the truth, you shouldn't be afraid to hide anything. You shouldn't be hiding behind fake mock accounts. What you hiding? What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of coming to the light that you have to intimidate people with mock accounts? That you got to dox people, which is illegal, by the way. I think I'll put it up here. That same account that was harassing Josh and many others was like, oh, all this information is public. It's all public information. No, the definition of doxing, throwing up someone's address, finding someone's address, finding someone's picture, etc. The definition of doxing is sharing someone's public information without their consent. That is illegal. So if Josh, myself, or many other people choose to sue, we would be in our right to, because you didn't consent and ask us whether it was okay. It's illegal. So back to the question. What are they so desperate to hide? Why hide behind a mock account? This isn't just Christian drama. This is about integrity, safety, and holding public ministries accountable when they weaponize their platforms against the people they've already harmed. In Proverbs 6, the Lord says that there are 6 things that he hates, and a lying tongue is one of them. He hates a heart that devises wicked plans. Someone who makes mock accounts, they're wicked. And God hates that. He hates someone who bears false witness, who breeds out lies. Sounds like much of Daystar is an abomination before the Lord. He doesn't just dislike this behavior, he calls it an abomination. But here's the good news, because Jesus himself says in Matthew 5, he says, blessed are you when people insult you, when they persecute you, falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. The fact that we're being attacked for standing for truth, being called out, Jesus already promised that we're blessed. He sees it. He sees it. So I will obey, and we will obey Romans 12, where the Lord says, do not repay evil for evil. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. Don't take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath. We're talking about this because it's not about revenge. It's about exposing people out of the truth. It's not about exposing them out of bitterness. I'm not bitter. We're not bitter. We just want the truth. So we're exposing the lies. It's about peace. It's about accountability. And it's about letting God deal with the rest. But silence isn't peace. Ever. Silence has never been peace. So don't get it twisted. Many of these so-called ministers like Rick Renner, who's talking about, the accuser of the brethren in this hour, people who were talking about these things on social media. They were saying how, anyone with 500 followers, something like that, from Daystar on Joni's Table Talk, all they care about is getting views. No, we care about truth. If you cared about truth, you do a third-party investigation immediately to shut us all up, just to prove us all wrong, right? Do a third-party investigation. Let Pete, Rachel's husband, finish his investigation because he never went back. Let's ask Denise Boggs about that. Debbie Leinhart, let's ask her about that. And we did. They were interviewed. Anyone who says that there's no sketchiness with this is most likely being manipulated by Daystar or someone on Daystar's payroll. Because you can't look at the whole narrative of this story and say, oh, well, Jonathan and Susie were lying. Or all they care about is money. All they care about is prestige. No. When they found out that Marcus lied about Pete, a.k.a. Rachel's husband, being cleared, things shifted immediately. Because they were lied to. He was never cleared. So why is he working right now at Daystar? He's still on payroll. Jonathan's not on payroll. Susie's not on payroll. But the one who refuses to clear his name is still on payroll? Y'all ain't see nothing wrong with that? Nah, get out of here with that. There is a witch hunt to try to get people like me and many other people to shut up. But don't. Get louder. Because truth will always come to the surface. Because Jesus is truth. And he said in the book of Matthew, what has been hidden, shout it from the rooftops. So that's what we're doing. And we won't stop. Anyways, y'all get in my comments. Let me know how you feel. We won't stop until all the truth comes out. Not just some, all of it. Anyways, y'all make sure you comment. Make sure you subscribe. Because this is a fight. We're fighting for the truth to be supreme. Anyways, love y'all. Like I said, get in my comments. Let me know how you think, what you feel. Share this. Subscribe. And I'll catch y'all on the next one.